refreshed after you've had an opportunity to have a conversation with everyone in your group. And so I'm very excited to hear some of the productive breakout sessions feedback. And we're going to use the remaining time that we have here together to share some of your key takeaways from those discussions. So while other groups are sharing their key takeaway, each note taker will record your group's key takeaway in the chat. So please feel free as note takers to record the key breakaways the key takeaways that you may have had as you were in the small groups. So we have had lots of rooms that were facilitated by great facilitators, note takers, and chat monitors. And thank you so much for your assistance for that process. Between the facilitators and the note takers, we have developed a thorough record of today's conversations. So we're just going to go around and ask some groups to share some of the group key takeaways that you may have and you wanted to share with the group. So because I don't have the facilitators for all of the groups, because we had to shift some groups around because of numbers, I'm going to start with Crystal Clark because I was in that room and I know that they had a lot of interesting things that they discussed, but they do also have one key takeaway to share with the group.
Yes, so our key takeaway was really to focus on student choice and agency, putting our scholars first, and really looking at diversity in assessment and individualizing learning for all of our students and being resourceful in doing so.
Wonderful.
Thank you
so much. Thank you. I'm just gonna ask another facilitator. Maybe you can chime in and tell me what, I know we had one that was chaired by Dr. Giamartino. Do you still have a facilitator group that you could share a key takeaway from?
Thank you, Dr. Morris. Yes, we had a rock star group actually, and they really were hyper focused and just got a heck of a lot done. The key takeaway with our team really centered around fostering sustained cultural competence and understanding of others' languages, others' cultures, through rigorous project-based learning and real-world experiences. And those experiences would be inclusive of financial management and also working closely with others in a very positive, collegial manner.
All right, wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Annalie, would you like to go next for your group?
Yes, thank you. So our key takeaway was to focus on customized project-based portfolios based on student choice with an embedded community service aspect that inspires positive change for their community.
Thank you. And Nicole, you had your hand up, so do you mind sharing your group?
I did. Our group was very like-minded to the other groups, and particularly some of the things that Crystal said, because it was all about understanding student need. How does the student best learn? How does the student best demonstrate their understanding? So it was about flexibility in a very cost-effective way, ensuring that we may create assessment opportunities and curriculum opportunities based on research-based practices, but children should have choices that are aligned with the best way that they learn and the best way that they demonstrate their understanding.
Thank you. Thank you for raising your hand. And Kayla, can you please go ahead and share?
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Morris. The biggest idea that our group focused on or spoke about was this idea that we have to focus on the child's well-being and wellness by providing choices to develop critical thinking, decision-making skills, and problem solving. We did try to kind of move into some of the courses like financial literacy that are critical and important skills for our students to know once they graduate high school, And then exploring more the idea of having health courses as part of their pathways and other pathways. So providing them more choices and options for them as they move in the path toward graduation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Sandra, do you mind sharing what your group had as your key takeaway?
No, thank you. And Dr. Morris, I can put it in the chat, but it won't let me do it to everyone. There isn't a drop down where everyone can see it. I can do it to you. I can send it to you and a few other co-hosts, but not to everyone, just so you know.
Yes, that'll be fine for now. We'll capture it and make sure it goes where it has to go. So thank you.
Okay. So yeah, Dr. Morris, thank you. We were a super rock star group, and discussed a lot. So our key takeaway was the discussion was focused on the student rather than a specific content. The student came first and providing them with what they need, how to do it, and how can they best demonstrate their learning, which highlights some of the things that other people's key takeaways were.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Lauren, I see your hand up. Do you mind sharing what your key takeaway was from your group?
Absolutely. Thank you. So our group was very vocal, great group. We focused on literacy. It was a very big topic that literacy is very, very important all the way up through all the grades. Assessments should be varied. They should be assessing the right things, and student success is not always, it's measured not all the time, but it's not always assessing the right things. Portfolios, it measures holistically, so that's important. And then also social and emotional learning is very, very important. And that should also be involved with nowadays in schools.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nicole. Eric, I see your hand up. Do you mind sharing?
Yes, thank you. I had a wonderful group. We had great conversations. And the one key takeaway is that students should have opportunities to learn through real world experiences and be assessed through research-based, performance-based assessments, making sure that students and parents are involved in the process, in the whole process.
Thank you so much. Are there any other rooms that had a facilitator who wanted to share your key takeaway at this time? I encourage everyone who was a facilitator to make sure that we get your key takeaway in the chat. And I've received 9 of those so far. So just make sure I get those, and we'll make sure that they go so that we can share them with the State Education Department. So thank you so much for that. And if you are watching, or if you participated in a room and once again you feel like you weren't able to share everything that you wanted to during the breakout session, please use the Zoom chat function, because we're keeping all of the chat notes. So your voice really does matter, and we want to make sure that we capture all of the feedback. So thank you again to everyone for your thoughtful discussion, feedback, and time today. I know the Board of Regents and the department value the information that they receive from these meetings. Once again, here is the draft timeline to refresh your memory on next steps. Regional meetings like this one will continue through February, and the feedback from the regional meetings will be compiled and presented to the Board of Regents this summer. As you have likely already seen, the department has established a graduation measures webpage to provide information on the review of the graduation measures in New York State, as well as updates. In addition, if you know of people who wanted to attend today but could not, there's a listing of the regional meetings that are also going to be held across the state. And now we will welcome Regent Turner to share some closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Morris. And I know the evening has been long, so I won't have too much to say. But again, my name is Ruth Turner, and I'm the Regent for the 7th Judicial District. And it's such a pleasure to be able to be a part of the breakout room as an observer. As everybody said, we had a great, thoughtful group. And we're so thankful for everybody willing to share their time, their knowledge, and perspective. with us today. It's so important to make sure that we hear your voice and your perspective. And we appreciate you in assisting us, right, in getting the different point of views of of the region in which we're in, and also as it pertains to the need of our schools and our students across the district and in our area. As many of you know, New York State diploma requirement has been the gold standard for centuries. However, it just makes sense for us to periodically to take a pause, look at the system, to review, renew, and occasionally revise as necessary in order to best serve our students and the people of New York State. This is not something that we're taking very lightly, as you can tell by our timeline, right? We're doing this very thoughtfully, right? Deliberately, and not rushing into things. Even today's session, being able to listen and gather the feedback is an example of how much we are ensuring that we're not doing this in isolation, but that we have key stakeholders' voices and perspective. And all of today's input is going to be presented to our Blue Ribbon Commission that will bring together passionate, knowledgeable, and committed members of the business and educational community in order to dissect and look at all the data and the research available, including your input today. And this is all done to ensure that our students, right, are learning those things that are relevant to them and to the life of the 21st century. Times are changing, right? Information is changing, and we want to be able to grow and adapt and ensure that our students are ready for the world that's ahead of them. And whether adding revised or additional measures of achievement, whatever is going to best serve New York State diverse student population, figuring out what are those indicators, what they need to know and be able to do in order to be college and career ready is at the heart of all the work that we're doing. So we need to ask ourselves, right, what can we do to improve opportunities for all students to be successful? And you are taking a step and participated in part of that work. And we thank you so much for your time and being willing to give up so much of your time today. Thank you for all that you have done today. And we appreciate it. And not only that, we are optimistic that the students of New York State will benefit, reap the rewards, right, in the months and years to come. I'll turn it to my colleague, Regent Norwood.
Thank you, Regent Turner. And my comments, friends, are simply to thank all of you for joining us this evening. Your engagement tonight and in our past regional meetings has been invaluable. Our work, my friends, is the test of our ability to fulfill our obligation to meet what is now called the 7th generation principle. We must ensure that the decisions we make over the coming year does justice for our children, not just today, but for our children 7 generations into the future. It is this teaching from the Haudenosaunee Confederacy that reminds us that we're required to look and listen for the welfare of the whole people and have always in view not only the present, but also the coming generations, even those whose faces are yet beneath the surface, those who are the unborn of our future. And since, as the Israeli Hanukkah song notes, we are come to drive away the darkness, let me close by thanking you for bringing light to the work of the Education Department. And I thank our SED colleagues who joined us here in the Finger Lakes for tonight's conversation. And so on behalf of the Regents of New York, our Chancellor and Commissioner, please know that you have our best wishes for a safe and happy holiday season and for health and happiness throughout the coming new year.
Thank you, Regent Norwood and Regent Turner. Thank you so much for your comments. And now, our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Leslie Myers-Small, will share some thoughts.
Thank you so much. I always have the wonderful distinction of following our distinguished regents, but I will do my best. Thank you, Regent Norwood and Regent Turner, for your inspiring and impactful words. I certainly want to thank Chancellor Young and Commissioner Rosa for revitalizing this process so we can move forward and to really create amazing opportunities for our scholars across the entire state. I also just want to uplift and thank our commissioners from the Rochester City School District Board of Education, who is committed to co-laboring in this work as we work to support almost 24,000 students in the Rochester City School District. This is truly an exciting time for the state of New York. I remember when the graduation measures were launched several months ago, and being an assistant commissioner and thinking about how incredible this was, that the regents were very committed and excited about looking at how we might change the way students graduate from our schools and districts across the state of New York. And although we had a slight pause because of COVID, it did not pause the efforts for us to be able to move forward and look at how we can reimagine what students should know and be able to do as it relates to graduating from a high school in the state of New York. The Rochester City School District is certainly committed to this work, and we are excited and looking forward to participating and working with all those who are partnering together in this effort. But most importantly, I am excited for the scholars to come who will graduate and will have the opportunity to truly show what they know in ways that measure their unique, amazing capabilities. I join those who share sentiments. I certainly wish everyone a wonderful and safe holiday. And again, we thank all those who have gotten us to this point to make us be able to turn dreams into realities for scholars. And while I have the mic, I do want to again acknowledge Deputy Commissioner Kimberly Wilkins, who has just been so incredible and supportive of the Rochester City School District as she heads towards, she's just pausing. She's going to start right back up after she retires. And I know she will continue to have an impact on not only children in the state of New York, but probably across the country. So thank you all for coming out. Janelle, Dr. Morris, thank you for coordinating this for the Rochester City School District. And I just can't tell you how excited I am as we continue to move forward and make a difference for millions upon millions of children and scholars in the state of New York. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So the chat will contain a link to a participant exit survey regarding today's meeting. We will also email this list to you in the next 2 to 3 days. We ask that you take 2 to 3 minutes to complete the exit survey. And we are also going to add the link to our thought exchange so you can continue the conversation after today's meeting. We encourage you to share the link to the thought exchange with those unable to attend the regional meetings so that we can capture their thoughts as well. Thank you so much for all of your work today. And thank you for all of our participants for your really thoughtful participation. And we are looking forward to working together to drive positive change for our students. Thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening. Take care.
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Bye
Thank
now.
you. Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.